Hello, everybody. So, I've come to realize that there is this feeling of smallness that comes with a certain feeling. I know that was contradictory and that was kind of complicated, but just get the point. There's this feeling you feel even when you've climbed to the highest point in your life, even when you've done everything right, even when you've put in the hardest work. It feels like you are in constant competition. You don't feel satisfied with whatever you do. You feel you feel very unaccomplished, and I'm here to talk about that feeling. Before we get right into it. Hello, guys. You are welcome to another amazing episode on EWL Podcast, Experience with Luchi Podcast. Don't forget that this podcast is a platform for you to be expressive and a reality check. I'm your host, Imitate Theology Gloria, and I'm so excited for this topic. We titled today's topic Jealousy, the smallest, the feeling of smallness. I don't know how I would speak about this topic without sounding very funny, but I would say to everybody out there, every one of us have felt jealous. You know that position where you are doing something, you are trying your best, and you just like cite someone's achievement, or you just cite someone doing good. In your head, you're like, what am I not doing right? Are you sure I'm putting in my best? Oh, what is this person doing that I'm not doing? Even sometimes when you they do, for those of us that are in school that time, you see yourself, you are very serious in school. When results come out, sometimes you see certain people have certain grades, and you would like feel a certain kind of way. Even God made us understand that He's a jealous God. So when you say people say I have been jealous at some point in my life, people think it's a bad feeling. But I don't think jealousy is something that can be avoided as humans. But when it gets really vicious, when it gets really alarming, is when it progresses to envy. When your jealousy is always and solely on things that you think that, oh, I can be better than this. Why does this person always have to have this? But jealousy comes in a certain form of healthy competition when you're like, what are you doing right? Why do you always get this right? You're like, oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. So I think jealousy is not entirely a negative feeling. Sometimes people need that jealousy to kick in their competitive spirit. Like I said, jealousy is inherent in every human being, but the moment it progresses from jealousy to envy, it becomes a problem. The feeling of jealousy, I would say, there are some points in my life where I have put in my best, but because of at that split second, I had wished, oh, I wish I could do this like this person. And you will just find out that the moment you just say that, it drains everything you have put in your effort into. It feels like you're not doing the work. It feels like, oh, you can never do it like the other person will do it. And that is when jealousy becomes a problem. It makes the individual really small. It makes you feel so small. It makes you feel invisible. And even as much as I said jealousy is inherent in every human being, it is not a feeling somebody should feed from. There are situations where I felt jealous, be it in competitions in relationship, and the feeling I always say is not the nicest feeling. I would be honest with that. The feeling is really not the nicest feeling. It just feels, I don't know how to put what I'm trying to say in the plainest words that I can use. I'm still looking for the lies, like the plain word I can use. But the point I'm trying to cross across is, in as much as that is there, it is not a feeling we should feed off from, because I don't think it elevates us in any way. It can push you to elevation, but feeding off it would not increase your growth, would not increase your chances of accomplishing so much. I think that is the point I'm trying to pass out on today's topic. There are times when I've been jealous also, and I tend to act out of character. It brings this dwarf spirit. I remember my pastor speaking one day, and he says that sometimes you may just be innocently thinking about something, and that feeling would just progress. And it just gives you a certain kind of anger, a certain kind of, again, smallest feeling. You just feel like your back is against the wall, you can't breathe. It's as if somebody is doing something wrong. So jealousy jealousy is really, really a sensitive thing to talk about, in as much as not everybody will agree that, oh, have been jealous at some point, but it's something that has happened to a lot of us, being jealous, and sometimes acting on their jealousy. And you know, when you act, sometimes when you have been jealous, you would think you are acting, oh, it's normal, I would have done that regardless of what I was feeling. But there's a time that you would act based on that feeling, and you would just go back and say, what was the need for all those things I was doing? Why do I need to prove a point? Why was it even necessary to prove a point? You could take that feeling and channel it into something positive. Jealousy do not always have to progress to envy. You do not always have to prove that you are better than somebody. And that's why people would always feel the sense of being in constant competition with somebody. There's something my primary school teacher would always say, something that she said that stuck with me. You're not in competition with anybody, you are just in competition with yourself. Always trying to push your best foot forward. That is the legal that is a very strong lesson. You are always in that moment, you are always in that moment where you always want to push your best foot forward. So it's not even about what the next person can do best. It's not even about what the other person can do best. It is what you, Luchi Glory, can do best. It is what you yourself can do best. So even when you have that feeling, it should come from, we cannot even control the feeling sometimes. So me even sitting there here and say, when you have that feeling, you should come from. So I don't even know where the feeling will come from, but when it eventually comes, it should always be a feeling that always channels you to push forward, that always challenges you to bring out the best of what you can offer. Because no matter the amount of jealousy you would possess or have over somebody, it does not change the fact that the person is going to succeed, the person is going to succeed. If the person is going to make it, the person is going to make it. If the person is going to do more than you, the person will perform much more better than yourself. So jealousy do not stop the outcome of another person. The feeling of jealousy, you feeling jealous, would never stop the outcome of another person. But definitely the feeling of jealousy would amplify the work you can put in. The, the feeling of jealousy can amplify the work you put in to get a greater output. Does that make sense? I'm speaking in logic. It's giving the sociology in me is coming out. But what I'm saying in essence is the feeling of jealousy would always be there. But channeling the negative aspect of it is like, I don't know where it will take you to. That is a different ball game. I have never felt jealous, and the result of feeling jealous, like acting on that jealousy, it never benefited me in any way. But what I've come to realize, the moment you feel jealous about something, it is an eye opener to the fact that you can perform better than you're already performing. What I'm saying in essence is the feeling of jealousy should not be something that promotes that. The feeling of jealousy should not be promoted in the negative light, because it is not a good feeling. It is not something you want to encounter. It just gives off really bad, like, I don't know, it just puts you in a very dark place. So the moment you feel jealous, I want to encourage myself, I want to encourage you to always focus on the positivity, to always focus on putting in your best input. Because I feel, as humans, the moment we feel at peace with what we are doing, the moment we feel at peace with how far we've come, the moment we feel at peace with the inputs we've put into things, I think we become settled. But the moment you start feeling, oh, why did I not have that? That feeling of jealousy just kicks in. It should be a reminder that you can do better. Not necessarily better than the other person, but regardless of what you do, make sure it's your best. Regardless of what you do, make sure you are doing your absolute best. And that is the message for today, guys. I said this because recently I have had to talk about the feeling of jealousy. And another thing that has helped with the feeling of jealousy, before I forget, most importantly, is God. If you understand who God is, And, I like speaking from the perspective of the Bible. The fact that God said is a jealous God does not mean God is not a fair person. It's not a fair being. So that should tell you a lot about the feeling of jealousy. So I think with me, I just understand God and where God is at. I try to take everything from the biblical perspective. I try to do things the way God has commanded us to do. And that feeling of always putting God first settles any uncertainty I have about myself, settle any bad or any negative energy I feel about certain things I do. So I think the first factor is when you have that feeling of jealousy, concentrate on the positive, and it should always be an alarm that you can always achieve better. The second thing I don't know if I'm putting the numbers, so leave the numbers. So the second thing that I think will help you with the feeling of jealousy is acknowledging that God is who He is, acknowledging that God should take control of the situation. The moment you put God in control of the situation, it becomes easy for you to let go of such feeling. It becomes easy for it not to progress to envy. It becomes easy for you not to feed off that dwarf energy, that smallness energy. Like I said before, you being jealous do not stop the progress of other people. You just have to work hard to come out from that. Because I feel it's a very dark place sometimes, even though it's a feeling that is there, that is always going to be there, but it's not a feeling that you should feed on. Does that make sense? Okay, guys, don't forget to stream this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and on YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it's gonna pop on the screen. Yeah, please. As usual, don't forget to follow me on my social media platform at Luchi on S formerly Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. We also have a podcast page, EWR_podcast. Okay, guys, it's a lovely day, and I wish you an amazing week. Like I always say, let's spread love because God is love, love is God. Have an amazing week. I love you guys. Bye.